Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you love dissecting how digital success actually works, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're looking at a real-time case study of an internet sensation, the Rwandan creator Kagarara, also known by his real name, Enoch Owize. We're going to break down his explosive rise to fame and use the data we have to project his future. It is a really fascinating look at the actual mechanics behind modern digital influence.
Okay, let's dive into this. What happens after the viral moment fades? It's the ultimate dilemma that literally every single viral creator faces today. Because it's one thing to capture the internet's attention for a fleeting moment, right? But what happens when that initial wave of hype inevitably starts to recede? How does a creator survive the sheer churn of social media? Well, this is the exact crossroads where our subject finds himself right now.
If you've been following the digital landscape in East Africa lately, the case of Kagarara is basically impossible to ignore. He is Rwanda's rising star, and his momentum over a super short period of time has been absolutely explosive. We're talking about a fast, incredibly energetic growth curve that has suddenly pushed him from local recognition right onto an international stage. But to understand where he's going, we first have to understand exactly what put him on the map.
Section 1. The Ashton Small phenomenon. Let's analyze the specific catalysts behind his current international reach.
This brilliantly illustrates the mechanics of building a viral platform. Kagarara didn't just get lucky once. He completely stacked his advantages. He started out with highly distinctive content and a super unique personality. Then, he actively collaborated with major influencers, which aggressively built up his international audience. But the massive tipping point, for sure, was his high-profile partnership with the hugely popular creator Ashton Small, which actually earned Kagarara the nickname Ashton Small. This visibility has been so significant that even Rwandan tourism officials have reportedly explored opportunities to work with him to promote the country. It's a real game changer.
To put the scale of this momentum into perspective, let's consider a massive numerical goal: 1 million. Ashton Small has publicly stated that his explicit goal is to help Kagarara reach 1 million followers on Instagram. Having the backing of an established, massive creator with a specific, highly public target, that is an incredible advantage that very few rising stars ever get to see.
Section 2. Mapping 3 possible futures. Let's take a measured look at the evidence-based projections for his career.
So the sources analysis breaks this down into 3 divergent paths. Scenario 1, he becomes one of Africa's biggest creators. This is definitely rated as possible, but the key trigger here is that he absolutely must consistently post, collaborate internationally, and most importantly, expand way beyond just the Ashton Small parody content. Scenario 2, he becomes a motivational speaker and advocate. Now this one is rated as very plausible because it relies directly on his authentic story of resilience. And then, well, there's Scenario 3, his popularity declines. This is a very real trap. It's also possible, and the trigger for this failure is if his content remains tied only to a fading viral trend. If he stays just Ashton Small, audiences might eventually just lose interest and move on.
Disability is not inability. This is the powerful, anchoring message derived from Kagarara's own inspiring life story. While a lot of people initially followed him for his comedy or his fitness challenges, it's actually this underlying message of perseverance that keeps audiences invested over time. This kind of depth matters so much more than just surface-level comedy when we're talking about long-term audience retention. Because of that depth, our source material considers this specific advocacy path, Scenario 2, to have the strongest long-term potential. If Kagarara leans into his story of resilience, he is perfectly positioned to transition into a role as an influential public speaker or even an ambassador for disability inclusion and youth empowerment, and not just in Rwanda, but across all of Africa.
Section 3. The path to longevity. Let's talk about what's actually needed to survive the harsh reality of social media churn.
So the crucial point is this: he has to make a massive conceptual leap. He cannot remain known simply as the Rwandan who met Ashton Small, because let's face it, that is a borrowed identity. He desperately needs to evolve beyond that initial association to become Kagarara, a standalone creator with his own lasting, independent identity and a rock-solid personal brand. To achieve that independent identity, the source outlines what's basically a highly strategic survival playbook. First, keep fitness as a core pillar. Second, create original comedy that doesn't rely on anyone else. Third, tell his inspiring life story. Fourth, document his authentic daily life in Rwanda to physically ground his content. Fifth, expand his network by collaborating with other African creators. And finally, perhaps launch a foundation or initiative supporting people with disabilities. This playbook diversifies his content and protects his public relevance by giving audiences multiple, compelling reasons to stay engaged, rather than just one.
Section 4. The ultimate prediction. Let's forecast where this all leads if he manages his career well.
Let's move to and see how this builds over time. Today, his foundation is built almost entirely on that viral association with Ashton Hall. But in the near future, his main task is expanding into businesses, merchandise, or long-term media projects to construct a diverse, standalone brand. If he manages this well, the source's ultimate prediction is that within the next 3 to 5 years, he has a completely reasonable chance of becoming one of East Africa's most recognized digital creators and a highly respected voice for disability inclusion. But again, if he relies mainly on that initial viral spark, that popularity is far more likely to fade away.
Which leaves us with one final, really pivotal question to think about. Can viral attention actually turn into a sustainable personal brand? Kagara has already proven he has the raw talent and the momentum. But as we've seen throughout this explainer, longevity is a choice. It requires adapting, diversifying, and building true value well beyond a catchy 15-second clip. The choices he makes next will be the greatest influence on his future. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and I hope this provided a powerful framework for understanding how true digital careers are actually built out there in the real world.